In December 2025, the automotive ledger didn't just blink red, it caught fire. A specific transaction on the auction block signaled a structural failure for one of Japan's most storied brands. A 21-year-old Subaru Impreza WRX STI, a car with a CD player, hydraulic steering, and zero driver assist sensors, was sold for $55,000. That figure represents a nearly $10,000 premium over the sticker price of a flagship 2025 WRX GT, currently gathering dust on dealer lots. This pricing inversion is what market analysts are calling asset class decoupling. It suggests that when Subaru killed the STI to fund its electric transition, it didn't just alter its lineup, it inadvertently severed the economic artery of its performance division. November sales are down 47%. Dealers are resorting to 0% financing desperation tactics to move metal. And the market has issued a verdict that no amount of marketing can spin. Welcome to the Bare Block Chronicles, where today we conduct a forensic audit of the WRX's broken economics. We are digging through sales ledgers, insurance actuarial tables, and auction results to answer one core question. Did Subaru kill the STI to save the future, or did they simply bankrupt their own legacy? To understand why the WRX is currently in a state of freefall, we have to look at the corporate decision that triggered the domino effect. In March 2022, Subaru cancelled the internal combustion STI. The official corporate line was a pivot toward electrification, but a forensic review of regulatory filings reveals a much colder reality. The STI was not killed because it was unpopular. It was killed because it was a carbon anchor. Under global emissions standards like US CAFE targets and Euro 7 regulations, manufacturers must offset high-emission performance cars with zero-emission vehicle credits. The math was brutal. To sell one STI with a 90 miles per gallon rating without incurring massive federal fines, Subaru needed its new electric vehicle, the Solterra, to sell in volume. The plan was to use the EV to offset the performance car's carbon footprint. That plan has failed. Market data from November 2025 confirms that the Solterra is in a state of commercial collapse, with sales down 78% year over year to a mere 232 units. Without those carbon credits, the carbon budget to support a high-output STI simply did not exist. The decision to kill the flagship was a panic-induced accounting maneuver to save the company's compliance standing, not a product strategy to save the car. The prevailing hypothesis in the boardroom appeared to be that the base WRX could sustain the model line's volume in isolation. 3 years later, the data provided a definitive rebuttal. We are witnessing a volume collapse. In November 2025, WRX sales dropped nearly 47% year over year to just 856 units. For historical context, back in 2015, during the peak of the previous generation, Subaru was consistently moving over 2,500 units a month. It is critical to note that this is not a brand-wide issue. While the WRX cratered, the utilitarian Subaru Crosstrek is having a record year, with sales actually up 6%. This divergence confirms that the issue is not a general economic downturn affecting all Subaru buyers. It's a specific strike by the enthusiast demographic against the current performance offerings. The inventory is now piling up, with market supply hitting 83 days. That's dangerously above the industry healthy standard of 60 days. To move this stagnant metal, dealers have been forced to deploy aggressive financial incentives. In an economic environment where the prime rate dictates standard auto loans hovering above 7%, Subaru is offering 0% APR for 72 months. When a manufacturer has to subsidize a loan that heavily, They are essentially slashing the profit margin per unit to zero just to maintain movement. This is a distress signal typically reserved for full-size pickup trucks during a recession. It indicates that organic demand for the WRX at its retail price has evaporated. The car has transitioned from a vehicle bought for passion to a vehicle sold on payment. The most damning evidence of this brand equity insolvency is found in the secondary market. We're seeing a valuation inversion, where the discontinued product is appreciating while the current product is deteriorating into a distressed commodity. The market has explicitly repriced the discontinued STI as a superior asset class to the new WRX, despite the latter's newer chassis technology. The auction benchmark is clear. While that 2004 STI commanded $55,000, the 2019 STI S209 has reached transaction prices of $72,000. These cars are appreciating assets. Conversely, early adopters of the new WRX GT are facing a liquidity crisis. Forensic analysis of trade-in values shows that a 2022 WRX GT, which carried an MSRP of over $43,000, is now drawing offers in the low $20,000. That's a depreciation curve of nearly 50% in 3 years. This destroys the traditional trade-up ladder. Historically, a WRX owner drove their car for 3 years before upgrading to an STI. Today, that owner faces a financial cliff. Their trade-in value has been decimated by the aggressive discounting of new units, leaving them trapped in negative equity. They cannot afford to trade out, and there is no STI to trade up to. A major driver of this disconnect is what we call the GT trim mismatch. Subaru positioned the GT trim as the luxury performance pinnacle, equipping it with Recaro seats and electronically controlled dampers that enthusiasts crave. However, they made a critical error by locking these features behind a mandatory continuously variable transmission, or CVT. Verified sales data indicate that 83% of WRX buyers opt for the manual transmission. This is one of the highest manual take rates in the entire US market, surpassing even the Porsche 911 GT3 and the Mazda Miata. By forcing the CVT on the highest trim, Subaru effectively placed a ceiling on what their core buyers are allowed to pay. They alienated 83% of customers who wanted to shift their own gears, leaving the most profitable version of the car to sit on lots for hundreds of days. This created a perverse halo effect. The introduction of the TS trim, which is essentially an STI appearance package without the engine, only highlights the deficit. It constantly reminds the consumer of what is missing rather than what is present. It transforms the legendary STI badge from a symbol of motorsport dominance into a cosmetic trim level. The market has responded by rejecting the new halo and pouring capital back into the old one. Beyond the sticker price and the transmission choices, there's a hidden tax accelerating the migration away from the WRX. We call it the boy racer insurance tax. Actuarial data shows that for a 25-year-old male, a WRX can cost significantly more to insure than a vehicle twice its price. Premiums are reaching upwards of $2,700 a year, with some owners reporting monthly quotes over $350. In a revealing comparison, one owner noted that insuring a 2025 WRX cost nearly the same as a Prius for their household. This proves that modern safety tech, like eyesight, has barely mitigated the driver risk profile associated with the badge. If you're a young buyer budgeting $500 a month for a car payment, a $250 insurance premium reduces your purchasing power by $10,000 to $15,000. This pushes the total cost of ownership into luxury car territory, destroying the value proposition for the demographic that historically fueled the brand. This economic pressure is creating a vacuum that competitors are rushing to fill. Subaru's exit from the high-performance segment has effectively handed its most affluent customers to Toyota and Volkswagen. While Subaru struggles to move units with 0% financing, the Toyota GR Corolla is conquering the exact psychographic of the STI. Toyota widened the net by offering an automatic option alongside the manual, while keeping the rally-bred wide-body ethos intact. Meanwhile, the Volkswagen Golf R saw a 12% sales increase in 2025, a year when the broader VW brand struggled. This indicates that the mature enthusiast, the buyer who used to graduate from a WRX to an STI, has migrated to Germany. They're still buying $50,000 hatchbacks. They just aren't buying them from Subaru. The trajectory is hauntingly familiar to automotive historians. Analysts are pointing to the Mitsubishi prophecy. The sales decline of the WRX post-STI cancellation tracks almost perfectly with the decline of the Mitsubishi Lancer after the Evolution was killed in 2015. Without the halo car to generate cultural heat, the Lancer became just an old economy car. Without the STI, the WRX is becoming just a thirsty compact sedan with the plastic cladding. If the current trend holds, WRX volume could drop below 10,000 units annually by 2027. At that volume, the production line space becomes difficult to justify. This path leads to the discontinuation of the nameplate, or its transformation into a crossover, effectively killing the lineage that defined rally racing for a generation. If you are currently in the market or already own one of these vehicles, the forensic data suggests a very specific playbook to protect your capital. First, for the potential buyers, you must avoid the GT trap. The data shows that CVT models depreciate the most because there's no secondary market for them. If you're buying a new WRX, the manual transmission is the only way to retain any semblance of value, given the 83% take rate. Do not be lured by the Recaro seats if it means sacrificing the third pedal. Second, for the investors, the winner's curse is real. The fiercest competitor to a new $42,000 WRX is not a Hyundai Elantra N. It is a used 2020 STI. The used market has recognized the VA generation STI as the peak of the analog era. If you have $40,000 to spend, the smart money is flowing toward the clean, low-mileage STI. You get hydraulic steering, the driver-controlled center differential, and an appreciation curve instead of a depreciation bomb. Finally, for the current owners, be extremely wary of the trade-in. The aggressive 0% financing on new units is a double-edged sword that crushes the trade-in value of late-model cars. If you bought a 2022 or 2023 model, you are likely in negative equity. The best financial move is to hold the asset and drive it. Trading out now realizes a massive loss that the new car's lower interest rate cannot recoup. Subaru killed the STI to save their compliance strategy, but in doing so, they shattered the product's economic viability. They removed the anchor that held the value chain together. The result is a bifurcated reality where the ghost of the STI haunts the showroom floor, commanding higher prices on the auction block than the technologically superior yet emotionally deficient new models sitting unsold under 0% banners. Unless Subaru can electrify the STI nameplate in a way that recaptures that visceral engagement, a feat no manufacturer has yet fully achieved at this price point, the WRX appears destined to follow the Mitsubishi Lancer into history. We want to hear from you in the comments. Are you one of the owners who face trade-back regret after buying the CVT, or are you holding on to an older STI as an investment? Let us know down below. We're signing off from the Bare Block Chronicles. Drive smart.